So here I would like to discuss how can Viktor Frankl's logotherapy contribute to the mediation process as an act of building bridges. So let me try to provide you a big picture. There are two types of mediations. On the one type, it is facilitative or transformative models. Their main goal is to help empower participants to take responsibility for their agreements, settlements. And on the other side, evaluative, it helps parties understand their legal positions. So as you see, it is more lawyer oriented. Actually, there are efforts establishing alternative mediation models from the perspective of Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. And Dr. Dror Shaker is one of them. I have come across his PhD thesis. And in his PhD thesis, he is he's trying to contribute to transformative model of mediation with the principles of logotherapy. But in this presentation, my scope will be narrow. I will be just concentrating on how coaching from logotherapy perspective can contribute to the success of a mediation process. So let's start with definitions. From an existential perspective, conflict is a crisis, a break in the communication, interaction between two or more people. I think I was in Dida's session beforehand. She stated, instead of meaning connections, it is very much it is overlapping. So it's a crisis and breaking of interaction. So if you ask to yourself these questions, what do we experience when we face a conflict? What do we care about? What matters to us? Just imagine yourself driving car, listening music, very nice, and another driver very near to doing the same thing, and all of a sudden they crashed. So what do they think? Oh, this bastard crashed my car, and did I take my license with me? Did I renew insurance? So first, we unsettled, confused, fearful, defensive, suspicious, and closed. So we become weak and self-absorbed, and we find ourselves in a vicious circle of this. And in this vicious circle, there is a downward spiral. We become negative, destructive, alienating the other, and demonizing the other. So, according to the transformative mediation's objective, transformative in the sense of making a change, in logotherapy terms, attitude modulation. So from weak to strong, from self-absorbedness to responsive. So how to attain this? Just providing opportunities for self-expression, expressing themselves, and respectful listening. So in transformative mediation, settlement or agreement is not enough. The main goal is to regain competence, change from weak to strong, and a sense of connection from self-absorbed to becoming responsive. Then changing the downward spiral as from negative to positive, from alienating to connecting, demonizing to humanizing. So what do we understand from the mediation process? Mediation is a form of alternative dispute resolution through which a neutral third party assists those in the dispute towards regaining competence and a sense of reconnection, meaningful reconnection, let's say, to create their creative settlements. So mediator is not a decision maker, no judicial role. Even in integrative mediation, he doesn't control the content, he doesn't control even the process. He controls the ground rules being met. And it's a voluntary process, which means the disputants can quit anytime, but they are responsible for creating their own settlements. It's confidential. Again, the disputants are free. They can freely share anything, but the mediator is keeping silent to outside. He cannot be referred what has been taught in the court. So everything is confidential. Mediation is a logical choice if the parties would want to preserve the relationship or avoid expensive, time-consuming, revengeful lawsuits. I'm interested conflict in the workplaces and intercultural conflicts, family, neighborhood issues can be a good candidate for mediation. The alternative of mediation is adversarial processes. It is contradictory to mediation. There's a decision maker there, and there's one loser and one winner. Adversarial processes is logical if there is a break in the law or violation of legislation, if something is very clear. So any mediation process starts with a pre-mediation stage. In the pre-mediation stage, the mediator, for the first time, contacts with the parties, either face-to-face or via the phone calls, invite them to mediation meetings, but before explaining the ground rules. So these ground rules are the mediator is a neutral person, and each party will be given enough space and time to express themselves freely. And the other party commits not to interfere. And mediation is a voluntary process. If they don't see any value, they can quit anytime. And any party at any time can request to meet one-to-one with the mediator. They call it, in this their jargon, they call this caucus. And generally, the disputants sign of an agreement that they will comply with the ground rules. And sometimes they don't want to state it as rules. Instead of rules, they state principles to be more flexible. And mediation is a confidential process, which means the mediator is silent to the outside world. So in the mediation day, in general, the mediation is very shorter compared to litigation. On average, 2.5 days, 2 or 3 days. So in the mediation day, they come together as agreed in the pre-mediation. The mediator welcomes the parties and seated them most comfortable. Sometimes they don't want to sit face to face, and reiterate the ground rules. Then each party has given opportunity to describe the dispute as they experienced it, and mediator to preserve the trust. Trust relation is maybe the most important thing for a success factor of the mediation, should not go into dialogue. All mediator has to do is really summarize and reflect what's been said without interpreting it. At any time, the parties can request to meet personally in caucus, and there is a after caucus reconvening, and in 2 or 3 days, it should be sufficient for an agreement to emerge. So our main emphasis is coaching. We believe mediators' coaching skills are so crucial for the mediation process. But before, let's define what we mean by coaching. Coaching is not about teaching the caterpillar how to fly. It's about creating an opening for it to see the possibility. Helping parties in mediation to look at the possibilities open to them and look at them through their own worldviews. What is important to them? What is meaningful to them? And in mediation, coaching can take place anytime. In the pre-mediation stage, coaching is very important in this stage because there are lots of nerves, lots of misunderstanding and fear. So these things require some coaching skills. And in private caucuses, the coach can help them to understand themselves better, their needs, their values. So between mediation days and after the mediation as well. So now I would like to discuss why coaching is important in mediation. First of all, we believe conflicts are nothing got to do with logic and facts. Look around, everywhere is conflict. So if it would have been logic and facts, it should have been resolved. As existentially, we believe that conflicts are about values and beliefs and worldviews. And meaning provides a framework for us to understand from which we can make choices, not just facts. And we become most emotional when we feel our worldviews, beliefs, values are being violated, or we misunderstand they've been violated. Mediation is important because we said we became most emotional when our values are under threat or violated. So when we become emotional, the amygdala hijacks, stops us to be logical or intuitive. So we are doomed with 3 reactions: fight, fight, freeze, or lightly hyper intent in our language. So the coach has to enable the person to self-detach, to de-reflect. This is another reason why coaching is important. Thirdly, we all humans want to express ourselves, want to be heard. So this is a gift for the mediator. If people needs to be heard, all we have to do is truly listen to them. Another human condition, we humans experience anxiety. This is a human condition. So coaching skills is important because to focus the anxiety help us to identify existential concerns, values, and meanings. And our attitudes, behaviors, emotions are influenced by our perspectives, by our worldviews. So shifting perspectives enable, modify behaviors, emotions, and attitudes, especially most sedimented behaviors cannot move without a shift in the perspective. And we logotherapists, we all know that it's unable to change the incident which held the dispute, but we can change our attitudes towards it. The purpose is not to reach a settlement, fulfilling practical economical needs, but rather regain competence and a sense of meaningful reconnection. I think Dida's presentation is all about this, how attaining reconnection is important. And now I would like to talk about the skills that the mediator has as a coach, should have as a coach. First thing first, listening without judgment and without censoring. Secondly, reflecting back what's been heard without interpreting, using even their vocabulary, their words. This is very, very important for them to experience not only self-distancing, but getting aware of their values, meanings, and more than that, capturing the commonalities between the disputants. So this is the very critical point, because we are inclined to demonize the other. So if we really see our commonness, common values and meanings, then a shift being changed from competitiveness to cooperativeness. So if we articulate more about listening, both mediator and the participants, the disputants, has to know the difference between listening to be with them and listening to assess them. So here, the mediator is not a subject matter of expert. He's not there to listen and to recommend. He is there to listen, to be with them. For this, what is required? For this, being authentic, authenticity is required, and indeed creating an I-thou relation is important, and more in more jargon, a phenomenological attitude is required. Just suspending our judgments and listening without any judgments and reflecting back, summarizing what's been already said. That much simple. This is the only way for the coach to establish, maintain a trustful relationship with the participant. And maybe trust is the main success factor. If trust can be easily lost, it is very important to create that trustful relationship. People in conflict have low self-esteem because they feel weak. So to maintain a good level of self-esteem, participants need opportunities for self-expression and respectful listening, nothing else. For them to really express themselves, a free space, express themselves, and a respectful listening. So we said that the discovery of participants' values, meanings are important. So what I'm saying, it should be a phenomenological attitude this requires. So one way to discover a person's values, meanings, is to provide space and safety for the person to express their perspective and emotions. Here, one thing very important, as Husserl's main concept in phenomenology, intentionality, the emotions are intentional. So we have to listen the emotions as well, because they're saying they're about something. So in listening, we should not only listen the facts about the crisis, about the conflict, but we have to listen the speaker, their emotions, their body languages. We have to look, are there any paradoxes, contradictions between what they're saying, what their values and what their behaviors, beyond what their emotions and body languages. We have to listen all these. So in phenomenological terms, we should not only listen the noema, but noesis as well. So we said the parties to really conceive their commonalities is key for them to reach an agreement that really sticks. Because in conflict, we are inclined to alienating and demonizing the other. And once the coach facilitated what their values, beliefs are, what is important for them, the next step is the participant to discover the commonalities, which is always there for them to discover. So when this emerges, when they start discovering their commonalities, then change starts from competitiveness to collaborativeness, from alienating to connecting, and from demonizing to humanizing. So I skipped the others because I wanted to provide information, my case. I wanted to introduce that one as well. This was a valve manufacturer, a small SME, requested us to mediate a conflict. It's a family business. It is a conflict between daughter and the son within the company, and the company owner was an old man, the father, and the elder son, Murat, is the general manager. He's a mechanical engineer with a master's degree, but he is in the work from his childhood time, and his main focus is productivity, efficiency, increasing the sales. Recently, the young daughter, Aslı, has joined the company, and she had a MSc on digital marketing from a reputable university, but she doesn't have much professional experience. The problem is Aslı was seeing her goal as increasing the brand image of the company, her perspective was that company cannot grow before having brand awareness, and her first project was renewing the company's webpage. And before the new webpage launch, Aslı presented in the upper management meeting. Unfortunately, his brother Murat expressed in an authoritarian, aggressive tone his disappointment about the new web page. This created a high tension in the meeting, and then the brother and sister became very distant. One day, the father saw her daughter, Aslı, and Aslı was down, asked what happened, and she said that, I see I am the as if marketing lead. And she was recently discovered that in the last big photograph of the company with all employees, the driver is even there, but the marketing lead wasn't there. She wasn't informed about that picture, so she was very down after that meeting. And father discussed this with his son, who was the general manager of the company, and the brother said, "This is a small company. We are giving a fight. The company is not a kindergarten. She is not a marketing lead, just a rookie for his sister." So father, as the owner of the manufacturing company, requested us. Of course, we didn't know this company, but the consultant working with the father knows us, so through there. And the father wants both the son and daughter to take over the company, work cooperatively. And he said, both of them are my children. I cannot say go to neither of them. So in the pre-mediation, I called both of them over the phone upon father's request. And of course, they are both a bit reluctant, mainly the brother, because the father is ordering something. And this was actually 1.5 day mediation. And in the first day, we met together. In the afternoon, it was individual sessions. And in the second day, morning, in 1 hour, we completed with, I think, success. So in the pre-mediation, what the brother said that I'm the general manager, but I don't have the authority to work to whom I want to. I don't want to be a kindergarten teacher. For him, the best solution is to write up a family institution. But the father resists because the father didn't want wives and husbands in this document, in this family institution. Murat wants his wife to be there as well, so it was the blockage. And he reluctantly, he said, my father want me to attend, so I should attend. But this seems like a child play for him. He said, my main focus is company's success in rational terms. He's a very rational man, a typical engineer. The daughters or the sisters, she was very emotional. She was saying, everyone see me as the little daughter. No one sees me, but she's ambitious, and she loves his job. She really believes creating a brand image is very important, and use of digital marketing channels. So she loves her job. And in the meantime, the brother was in the family. She was feeling most close to his brother because she finds him very intellectual, and so that's why she was shocked with the totally different attitude of his brother in the meeting. And she said, our family is a traditional Turkish family, and there that you should show respect to father and elder son. How can I be very openly state myself? So I said, there's a little bit coaching there. I stated that she should trust the process, and I will really make the rules working. And of course, if you don't, her responsibility is being taught. If you don't see yourself as the little daughter, please give your. So some coaching went there. We met in the father's office in a small round table, and the brother gave the first voice to Aslı. Aslı said, I don't want to be the as if marketing lead. And she complained that she did very hard for the web project, but she didn't understand the brother's very discreet, aggressive acts. And she said, even in that project, I updated the product catalog and map it to which product is in which life cycle. Even I've worked with these, and she was very emotional. And she was very emotional that she didn't take part in the big photograph of the company. And I just summarized what I heard. In the meantime, of course, phenomenologically tried to capture data for physical, social, personal, and spiritual existence. And then the brother said, you see, turning to me, I feel like a kindergarten teacher, and this company is neck to neck in competition. What should I do? And he seems he's very pissed off. So I also summarized what he said, and his body language is why I'm here. Lots of things are waiting for me. And he complained that she worked as a very operationally. She doesn't lead. That the product catalog she did was an operational issue, and it should be sales has to do that. You should ask it from the sales. And he saw his sister with visual content, and he was saying she was painting for him as a engineer. She didn't lead the web designer, the agency that we are paying fortunes, and she didn't take me into the process. She kept me a bit distant. Then she started, her voice was trembling, and she said that even that company photograph, that brochure would be marketing's project. Why didn't you give it to me? And then she suddenly said, you wanted all the processes to be monitored and controlled by IT systems, and you wanted to bring ERP project. And my father shouted at you those times, and I brought my ERP expert friend. We convinced my father, and that became a very successful project. And before the year, the return on investment being before the year was attained. And secondly, I supported your wives to be in the family constitution. I supported your wives to be in there. I gave that support. And while she was remembering and talking these, her voice changed. She became more in a confident state. I summarized this. And then Rat really registered this. And he said the ERP project became very successful. And thank you for your support as well. And in that, while he was talking, he received a phone and had to leave in a rush. He received a phone call from his father. His father is everything, the HR director as well. And in the afternoon, we started individual sessions. And in the individual sessions, the young lady was really frustrated. Nobody's taking her seriously. And so I reminded a song, Road to Success littered with corpse, but they're all suicides. We talk about this, and we talk about that bitter meeting. I want him to make it like a theater play and explains. He was giving credit what his brother was saying fully, but the attitude was, she found it very inhumanizing. So, but on the core, she was giving right on the what's been said by the brother. And then with the brother one-to-one, he came very pissed off. He learned from his father that the sales manager resigned, and he said, this is the third sales manager in 2 years. And he said, I don't have time to waste. I should immediately terminate this. I have lots of things to do. And I told him a story, just instead of, rushing like a head chop, animal, just relaxing and trying to see what's going on. Isn't it better? And I asked him, how would you like to see this company 10 years from now on? He was saying, everyone is doing their own things. I don't need to do anything. And everybody's gaining mastery. He had such a vision. And then we looked how his attitudes, lots of the managers are resigning. He is controlling processes, and the outcome, the business outcomes. So he felt that his style is very transactional. So we stopped there, and in the morning, next time we come together for the second day, he stated that I saw my issue. I was too much on things. I wanted to be a more transformative leader, and he found at home. He found a course, transformative leadership from Harvard Business School, a distance learning. He said it was a 15-day course. I've just registered and said to Aslı, I will start to mentor you. And so they gave a hug, and we terminated there. So for me, it's a very I don't know how I express. It was such smoothly. So they reconnected. Nothing being written, no agreements. I think that is the main goal of mediation. That's all I wanted to share. Let me stop sharing.
Thank you, Memduh, for your presentation, and especially for the case study, which really made it come to life for us, I suppose. We are running a tiny little bit late, which is not that bad, because it's lunchtime. So what I want to do is I want you to know about our lunch discussion groups. It's a difficult word to say for my German tongue. So we have, I'll put it in the chat, we have lunch discussion groups today on education, business, faith, religion, logo philosophy, and clinical application. You find it in the community tab on the event website, and you can go there and join. It will start in about maybe 5 or 10 minutes. You will always be able to join on one of these topics. You might have to scroll a little bit down to find the group. Tomorrow will be different groups. I just wanted to get this out of the way so that if people want to or need to leave, they can. And I also want to highlight or ask you to complete the survey. You will find it to the right below the chat and the Q&A box on the attendee website. So please help us by filling out the survey for the sessions you go to. But now I want to hand it back over to you. If you have any questions or if there's anything you want to share, I think we have one, maybe it's not a question, but it's about disagreements versus conflicts. Maybe this is something we want to touch on, or if there are any other questions, I'll just give it over to you. You just can unmute. If we're in trouble, I will try to sort it out. There are many thank yous, so thank you. I will just share the one thing about the survey, and please feel free to ask questions or type them into the chat if there's anything you want to say. Yes.
Janita.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Memduh, thank you so much. That was just so rich. I learned a lot. And one of the things I was thinking about is one of your earlier slides when you were talking about listening without assessing. And yet we're also, as logotherapists, in a sense, listening deeply with assessing, right? We're listening to the feelings and the meanings and the intentions, like so many things that you pointed out. And I guess I'm just wondering practically, because this is a space I really struggle as a coach, how you hold that moment where you are visibly listening but you are assessing, right? Like in a sense, like you
Yeah.
and I just think that's really challenging for coaches of all different kinds of experiences, to navigate what's a little bit in tension there. Can you just give any clues on how you do that in real life?
Yeah, actually, that's why I put the phenomenology. We have to listen noema and noesis as well. So, I mean, in the mediation, mainly the integrative mediation with both parties, you're not you're doing it in one-to-one sessions first of all. In mediation, when you're together, all you have to do is listen, to be with them, and reflect back with their own words, full stop, without like a logotherapist trying to like Elizabeth Lucas's very discrete questioning. No, not there. But in the one-to-one sessions, it is required because they have to discover their who they are, who they would like to be, what their values are. There, you have to, if you see any contradictions between noema and noesis, you have to make it as a subject of the discussion or dialogue. That's why we have to listen to the emotions, the body language. And we are, of course, that three presumptions: free will to meaning, meaning of life. We can bring those things if required there, but just as a question. So to see how noema and noesis there. Are there any paradoxes there? If you see paradoxes, you can make it a subject of the dialogue.
I ask a follow-up question. You mentioned de-reflection as a particular technique that can be used. Do you think Frankl's Socratic dialogue or Socratic method has a place in your mediation work?
Of course. As for example, I asked the elder son, if you step out from here, you're 10 years ahead, how you want this place? So that's very Socratic. You're taking from that time, putting it to another frame of time, and looking there what he sees. So definitely Socratic dialogues. And sometimes I love de-reflection. For example, if they get very angry, what their values, reflecting towards their values. They may feel very angry, they may see themselves very bitter or but what their values. So if you de-reflect them towards their values, they can easily get rid of that bitterness or guilt if they feel. So I love to use de-reflection in that sense, de-reflecting towards their values.
Thank you. Thank you also for your great questions and for your answer. Are there any more questions or observations, or does anybody have experience with the mediation process themselves? Just feel free to share. We've got another few minutes, so.
By the way, I've seen Okshana. We exchange a lot of mails, I guess. Ukraine, representing Ukraine.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah. Yeah, you're receiving a lot of thank yous, Memduh, in the chat,
Yeah.
so you will get to enjoy them.
I'm reading. As a dyslexic person, I cannot read.
I'll read them to you later. We made, or we're still in the process of making a recording. I will stop the recording shortly, and it should be available after the. Well, it should actually become available during the conference already, but it will definitely be available after the conference. So I take it that a lot of us took away quite a few ideas. So if you want to revisit this presentation, I think it will be very worthwhile, and we'll get the chance to do that. So I don't want to cut it off, but I think most things have been said, and I'll just invite you to make use of the various networking and connection possibilities we provide during this Congress, and enjoy your lunch break.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation, Memo. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.